So tough conversations, what are those? When I think about tough conversations, one of our most requested classes and one of our favorites in the Your Clear Next Step library over the years has been a class called Navigating Through Tough Moments. And navigating through tough moments is it's a class that helps us really get better at those tough moments. And then you stop and you go, well, what is a tough moment? Well, a tough moment is any moment that we are not primed to be our best. Any moment that you and I are going to engage in a conversation and we are not primed to be our best. Now, I got to tell you, my friends, right now, most of us are not primed to be our best. We've been experiencing something that feels like a crisis for several days. We are distanced from the people that we're used to being around. We're around closer to some folks we're not used to being around. We have a fear about what's coming next. We have a fear for our health. We have our fear for the economy. We have a fear for our society and what's going on. And with all of these things and all these stressors going on, we are primed at this moment for all of our conversations to be tough moments. We're not primed to be our best. And so then I got to thinking about, okay, well, what are the conversations that are triggers? What are the conversations that might be really tough? Maybe the refrigerator repair guy who shows up and seriously needs to not touch extra stuff in the house right now because we're trying so hard to social distance. Maybe it's your parents. Maybe your parents or your grandparents are aging and you need to get them to seriously stay home. Maybe it's your teenager. Maybe you need to have a conversation with a teenager who is still absolutely sure that everyone else gets to go hang out with their friends except her. Maybe you have a conversation that you have to have with a vendor or a business partner or a lender or a creditor, or maybe it's a customer asking for some grace. Maybe someone's asking for money. No, none of us like to talk about money. And so asking for refunds or asking for grace or asking for a discount right now, or knowing that finances are going to be tight a lot of places, that's a tough conversation. What about those conversations with the people in your house who just did that minorly annoying thing that doesn't usually make you lose your cool, but might make you lose your cool right now? What about the friend on Facebook who just posted something you disagree with? Or what about the tough conversation with your boss who just asked you to do something, but their instructions were unclear or the task feels unreasonable? All of these have the potential to be tough moments. All of these have the potential to be difficult conversations. So for just a couple of minutes, I want to give us some tips. And you can get a whole lot more than this out of our classes on this topic. But I want to focus on a couple of tips that really matter right here and right now in the heart of where we are in this disrupted space. The first one is make sure you know your why. So if you want 5 steps on how to navigate through these tough moments, the first one is to make sure you know your why. If you are not crystal clear on your why, you're going to go sideways. If you don't have a good purpose for this conversation, seriously, don't have it. We don't need to be having extra conversations right now. And if your conversation is not good, if the purpose is not positive, don't add to the stress by bringing someone else down. So the second tip is to brush up on your communication skills. We need effective communication. We need to make sure that we are saying what we mean to say and that we're not stumbling over our words and that we're remembering that communication is critical, it's hard, and it's not about me. Communication is always and forever about the other person. So as you're brushing up on your communication skills, you're really thinking about how do I put that other person first? How do I make sure that they hear me? An example of this one. How do I make sure the other person hears me? Real life situation, our fridge has died and now is not an ideal time to have a dead fridge. So we had to go ahead and get it repaired, right? So first it was the freezer and we got to wait for the guy to come out and fix the freezer. And then he said, oh, it's not just the freezer, it's the fridge too. And I got to come out on the 31st and fix it. So he comes out today. And when he came out a week or so ago, he was definitely kind of all in everyone's space. He was interactive, and he was one of those people that needed to be in someone else's space to communicate with them. And he had this voice that carried him. He left his kind of tools and his supplies all over the place. And today we're like, oh my gosh, you're coming back into this house, but it's a different world now. I don't know where you've been. I don't know what kind of social distancing you've done. I don't know what kind of germs you're bringing to this place. And so we want to make sure that we're not sharing germs. And so as we think about communication skills, Like, instead of being the irritated and frustrated and hostile people that we might have been with this guy, what we really want to do is just calm down and give him a why and make sure. So I taped a note to the front door, and the note on the front door says, we're practicing good social distancing. Please keep a 6-foot buffer around you, between you and every other person in the house. And so then that teed up the conversation. So our effective communications were there. We got the message through succinctly and clearly, and then we could have a reasonable, rational conversation about it. It's for a good reason that we're doing this. So the third step is making it safe. Make it safe is a third topic here. Consider the timing, consider the distractions, consider the space that you're in, and make the conversation as safe as you can. In that same example with the repair guy, yelling at him or saying, hey, your communication style is not going to work for us right now, doesn't make it safe. Making it safe is finding a way to talk about something that we have in common, talking about our common purpose, to make sure that we're not escalated, to make sure that our blood pressure is not up when we're having the conversation. Just really making it safe. This is where your emotional intelligence techniques like self-management come in. This is where you breathe deeply. This is where you count to 10 or 50 or 100 or 500 or whatever you need to. This is where you take a walk and clear your head if you need to really make it safe. Make sure that your physical person is not causing elevated tension in this particular moment. Make sure that you're not distracted or disrupted by barking dogs or a bad cell connection. Really think about those kinds of things and make it safe. A next step here is find common purpose. So step 4 in this sort of shortened, abbreviated version of navigating through tough moments, specifically right now, we need to find common purpose. If the other person that you're talking to agrees on your why, excuse me, if the other person agrees on your why, if you have a why and they agree that that why is valuable, we have a better chance of reaching a positive conclusion. Here's the why I'm asking this. Maybe I'm asking you to do something that's hard, or maybe I'm asking you to do something that's outside your norm, or maybe I'm telling you something that's uncomfortable for you. I think about my parents and my passionate desire to get them to stay home, right? Here's my why. My why is that I want to be able to go on that cruise that we planned for next June. My why is that I want you to stay safe. I want you to be well. And as we think about that, if we can agree on our why, then the conversation can move forward. So finding a common purpose is definitely a technique, but right now I think that common purpose needs to be our common why. Make sure we're on the same space as that. And then the last one is be candid. I think there is definitely a need for us in this moment to own our own truth, to own the message. I think now is not a great time for sugarcoating or beating around the bush. And for those of us, I see lots of familiar faces on the call here from Iowa, and we are Iowa nice, and I love being Iowa nice. And while we can still be Iowa nice, we need to be truthful. We need to be candid. I need to own what I need to own. I need to ask you for what I need to ask you. I just need to be candid about what it is that we need. I was in a conversation with a vendor partner, and we were talking about the pain that everyone's experiencing right now around sort of discounts and who's going to be able to pay and what bills are going to be late, and small businesses are struggling through this. And one of the things that she said that was really interesting to me, she said, well, I'm asking everyone who's coming to me and asking for discounts or delayed or deferred payments, I'm asking them, what's the number? What's the number you're thinking of? And she said, what I'm finding right now is when people are being willing to be candid, some people are asking for $100 discount. Some people are asking for $500. Some people are asking for 45 days. She said, when we can just get candid and be specific about what it is we need from each other, it turns out we get to the rest of the conversation a lot more easily. We don't have to beat around the bush, and we don't have to be afraid of each other. We just have the conversation. So being candid, I think, is one of those things to help us with tough moments. So these are some of my tips. It's navigating through these tough conversations and tough moments right here. Hopefully you got some useful tips out of this. This is not exactly the same as our Navigating Through Tough Moments curriculum. So if you're ever interested in that class, by all means, you will not hear a whole lot of repetition, but you'll hear some key points that I believe are true. But right now, I hope that these are useful to you.